Okay, congratulations, Rich. You're certainly an inspiration to everybody in the room. Our next award, the Hope in Action Award, honors an exceptional volunteer who amplifies awareness, compassion, and advocacy for those impacted by Alzheimer's and other dementia through service, through leadership, and a community voice. We are thrilled to recognize DanHogan with the 2026 Hope in Action Award. Please allow me to highlight Dan. As one diagnosed with Alzheimer's, along with Lewy body disease and cerebrovascular disease, Dan exemplifies the very spirit of Hope in Action Award through his extraordinary commitment to amplifying awareness, compassion, and advocacy for all those impacted by Alzheimer's. His leadership, his lived experience, his dedication have transformed programs, inspired volunteers, and elevated the voices of those living with the disease. A lifelong community builder, from his Peace Corps service to decades as a respected management consultant, academic, and nonprofit leader, Dan brings rare combination of intellect, humility, and heart to everything he does. His extensive academic background, Yale, Harvard Law School, and a Harvard PhD, reflect a lifetime devoted to understanding people and systems, and he channels that wisdom directly into this advocacy. Dan has made a significant impact as a member of the New England Early Stage Advisory Group, a speaker at association events, and a contributor to Voices of Alzheimer's. Through Connect TV and events like Biotech Networking Night and Patient Series with Alnylam and Novartis, he has brought visibility and humanity to dementia. A top fundraiser for the 2025 Great Boston Walk to End Alzheimer's and Blue Flower representative, he also inspires advocacy through speaking engagements like Massachusetts Advocacy Day and plans to continue this work for advocacy in Washington, D.C. Dan is a champion for representation, consistently advocating for inclusion of people living with dementia in key events, conversations, and decision-making. His leadership helps ensure that the voices of those impacted are heard, respected, and centered. Beyond our organization, Dan also contributes to the broader field as a research ambassador with the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research Center at Mass General, and is a member of the Dementia Solutions Advisory Council at Brigham and Women's Hospital. For his sustained service, his powerful storytelling, tireless advocacy, and generosity of spirit, please help me recognize Dan for his extraordinary work.
Good morning. No. Good evening, everyone. I'm truly honored and humbled to receive the Hope in Action Award. For one thing, I consider this a shared reward, shared with my family, my friends, colleagues, and professionals who have helped me in so many ways along the way. I'm blessed to have so many of them here tonight. In this regard, I want to give a special shout out to the Massachusetts Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. My coordinator in a lifelong research study of which I'm a part is with us tonight. And in particular, I consider this award as shared with my fellow members of this association's early stage advisory group, which Rich talked about, many of whom have done amazing work as volunteers as well. They could easily have been up here on the stage with me, or instead of me. And in fact, I'd like to share recent evidence to prove what I said. A number were featured in a recent excellent show on Alzheimer's that aired on WCVB's Chronicle. I would strongly recommend and hope that everyone here can see it. In fact, you can do so by simply clicking on the QR code in your program book. In any event, the last page has a couple of QR codes, and that's 3 members of our group that are highlighted in that. In any event, I would ask that members of the group stand so that we can give them a show of our appreciation. Where's our table? Everybody stand up. It's really a wonderful group to have. It's like your own self-help group. Moving on, I do have a message for all of us in this room. The purpose of this evening, as you know, is to support the goals of the association, and it needs your financial support. When you give that support, I hope you know that you're not just supporting the association. In fact, you are really helping all of us who are impacted by the disease. That includes the researcher in a lab looking for a cure, the caregiver attending to one living with Alzheimer's, the many others living with the disease, like myself, and members of the early stage group. In this regard, I'd like to share my story of how I finally was diagnosed. To begin with, I've been worried about my memory since roughly 2008, when I turned 65. So I pressed for a full neuropsych exam, which I finally got in 2012 at age 69. However, the doctor did not indicate any problems whatsoever beyond normal aging. I went for another 10 years, still worrying, and eventually had a second exam in the summer of 2022 at age 79. This time the doctors did diagnose mild cognitive impairment, but said emphatically, you do not have Alzheimer's or any other dementia. Fast forward 7 months to January 2023. I was playing in the state squash championships against a delightful and talented 12-year-old boy. At the end of one of the games, he came up to me, shook my hand, and said, "Nice match, Mr. Hogan." I quickly responded, "No, I said, match? What do you mean, nice match? We just finished one game." He politely said, "No, Mr. Hogan, we finished 3 games and I beat you 3 games to love." I had no memory of the match except for a few of the first and last points. That included, in between games, having no memory of talking with my daughter, Sarah, or my life partner, Jan, who are with me tonight right here. Well, that got my neurologist's attention, and I eventually had a full neurological workup. Part of that was a lumbar puncture, the gold standard to test for the 2 protein biomarkers for Alzheimer's, amyloid plaque and tau tangles. I waited anxiously for the results. They finally came in an email from Mass General Hospital on a late Friday afternoon on May 5th, 2023, a day I shall long remember. I opened it with trepidation. The report contained a simple XY graph, a chart, and a brief summary. My score was in the lower right corner of the graph, the absolute worst place to be. In fact, for tau on the x-axis, my score was so bad, it was literally off the chart. The graph was totally devastating, strongly indicating I had Alzheimer's. The date and time will remain with me forever. To me, it meant, till I forget them. To me, it meant that eventually I was going to lose my mind. I could think of few things worse. My neurologist was not available until the middle of the next week to help me deal with it. Nobody else was around because it was the weekend. I can't tell you how extremely depressed, anxious, and hopeless I felt. To make matters worse, further testing revealed that along with Alzheimer's, I also have Lewy body disease and cerebrovascular disease, the three top dementia diseases. Quite a trifecta. My depression and hopelessness only grew. But one day, a few moments later, I awoke to an epiphany. I realized that apart from some memory loss, I was still functioning pretty well. And it came to me that I had a new mission in my life: to help remove the stigma around Alzheimer's and to do what I could to help others in battling this terrible disease. I also had newfound hope and optimism. I thought to myself, in 5 years, if by some miracle I'm still healthy, wouldn't it have been a pity to have wasted those years feeling depressed and upset? And I know that having hope and optimism generally help with positive outcomes. My depression and feelings of hopelessness largely disappeared. Since then, my life has felt and been rich and rewarding. I want to mention one other benefit: the importance of living in the present. It's much easier when you really know your days are numbered. I'm much better now at appreciating the moment, even when it may seem extraordinarily small and inconsequential. For me, this has been a valuable and very positive game changer. In closing, I want to go back to why I value the Alzheimer's Association so much. The organization does an amazing job in each of the areas in which it's engaged. Moreover, the staff are not only highly competent, but deeply caring. It's truly a home for me, and I know it's a home for many others as well. So when you make a gift to this organization, please know that you're also making a gift to all the people that the association touches and serves: researchers, therapists, caregivers, and people like me living with the disease. Seeing so many of you here tonight is a wonderful and powerful boost to my heart, my mind, and my spirit. Together we will conquer this disease. Thank you so much, and bless you all.